Hello, my name is Alicia. I've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and I work a lot to recover from it, but of course I still struggle with some things. One of them being low self-esteem. And I'm pretty sure that many people share this struggle. Many people unfortunately feel like they're not good enough. Now, there are many reasons why we develop this kind of thinking, but it definitely doesn't help that we are living in a perfectionistic society where the way we must look to achieve happiness and love is really quite constricting. These limitations are conveyed to us via films, mass media, and even fairy tales as old as time, magazines and books. They also come from our peers who have been equally influenced by the same sources. For starters, one has to be young, especially women. Anyone, over 35 or 40 is considered second best. And although this cutoff age used to be even younger, we need to remember that humans nowadays live much longer than they used to even 100 years ago. So in terms of relativity, the situation isn't much better now than it was before. But what can you do about your age? It's just there. It's completely out of your control. Society is slowly getting better at being PC, but rude ageist jokes are still the norm even in the liberal media. Next, anyone over or under a certain weight, of course, is considered to be second best too. And this perfect weight, it depends on the time and the place. The standards change all the time. But the mere existence of a perfect weight, especially when its range is so small, makes it unattainable for many people for different reasons. More than that, trying to attain the perfect weight actually puts people's health and lives in danger if they have eating disorders, for example. Trying to get your body to look the way it wasn't made to look is dangerous and has long-lasting consequences even once you've stopped trying to get to that goal weight. Height, weirdly enough, is another thing that can be held against you. Being a short man is a nightmare in our society. Offensive jokes about men's height are so common, it's shocking. There is also a racism to beauty, those, white standards being applied to all people of different races in mainstream show business. Historically, there's also a class aspect to beauty. For example, in some countries, in some periods, having a pale skin was considered beautiful because, if you're a farmer and you work in the fields all day, you'll probably get really tanned. But if you're an aristocrat who hides inside and mostly attends balls and indoor parties and carries an umbrella everywhere, will be pale. Or in other situations, being tanned can be considered beautiful because that means you have the money for exotic vacations in winter or something. So, what can we do about all this? There is, of course, only one place to start, and that is, as ever, ourselves. I have body dysmorphia, and one day I can look at myself in the mirror and say, "Dang girl, you're fine." And the next day I'll look at myself and think, "Oh my god, you're so ugly." When, my face hasn't changed, my weight hasn't changed, the way I look hasn't changed from yesterday to today. So I have realized that the way I see myself actually depends on my state of mind, first and foremost. And the mind is a beautiful thing. The brain is the only organ whose structure can be changed by merely thinking the right or the wrong thoughts. But trying to be more gracious towards ourselves can seem very hard, if not impossible, due to childhood trauma and our schemas and the lack of self-love that unfortunately so many of us experience. So perhaps the way we see others could be a place to start. Seeing people of all shapes and types and ages as beautiful could be the first step to seeing ourselves as good enough. And as an added bonus, it will just make us better human beings. So, whenever we find ourselves judging others for what they are, not what they do, we have a chance to ask ourselves, have I been conditioned to think this way? Or do I really think this way? And if I really do believe this, do I want to continue believing this? Next, you might want to take a look at how you talk about yourself in front of other people. When you're being critical towards yourself, for example, you're calling yourself fat. Oftentimes, that is a defense mechanism. You know, if I make a joke about my weight first, then I'll beat all the bullies to it. And I'll take away their power, right? But imagine how a person of a similar weight or someone who's heavier than me will feel hearing this. Or if I lie about my age, what kind of message am I sending to the people around me? The temptation to lie about my age is great, especially when I keep hearing that I look younger than I actually am. I would like to, just go with it and, shave 5 years off my age. But let me tell you, when I see someone freak out about turning 30 and calling themselves old, it makes me feel awful. Am I like a granny to them? If they're old, and somehow worse for it, then what would they say about me? You see, we never really criticize only ourselves. When we put ourselves down, we put others who share our struggles down as well. This is why I have made a new rule for myself. Never lie about my age again. Never call myself old, or fat, or ugly. Better yet, just not comment on people's appearance in general. What is good for people suffering from eating disorders is actually good for everyone else. Instead of saying, oh, you look like you've lost weight, or gained weight, as if it was the ultimate good thing. Instead, I could say, you seem happy. You look like you have lots of energy. You have this lovely presence, or something like that. And come to think of it, the good effect that might have doesn't actually end with me. The people around it will notice it and perhaps start asking themselves similar questions. Some of them won't, of course, and that could be a reason for me to ask myself, do I really want these people in my life? Because when we are surrounded by people who judge us harshly, for whom us adhering to the norms that they didn't even consciously choose for themselves in the first place. If that's all that matters to those people, well then maybe freeing us from them would make it easier for us to develop some self-acceptance and also free up some space for the people who do share our values, who are kind and open and empathetic. So maybe we won't change the world, but we can certainly change our world. None of us are perfect, and sometimes we find that we're not good enough at something to achieve our goals. But that only means that we need to learn and work hard and grow and eventually become good at the things that we would like to do. But who we are is not the same as what we do. Who we are at our core are human beings, and we're all different in some ways and similar in other ways. And we all have the right to be ourselves and be okay with that. To explore ourselves instead of endlessly trying to conform to someone else's standards. To put our energy into becoming better people and contributing to our communities and making our lives and the lives of others better instead of just looking a certain way. Alright, so this is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and I'll talk to you, or rather at you, again soon. Bye!